often the most motivated and committed athlete in a rehab exercise plan or in something like a strength plan can often find plateaus where further progress is difficult to make. Sometimes that can be a physical difficulty in progressing. Other times it can be a mental thing sometimes. So I'm often asked around strategies that may help people be able to break through these plateaus. Now, there's hundreds of them. Different ones work for different people, so this isn't exhaustive. But what I wanted to do was share maybe half a dozen tricks that I sometimes use or strategies that can help people break through plateaus. Potentially one of the simplest is just rest periods. If we shorten or lengthen rest periods, then often the recovery to allow working with fatigue or without fatigue can massively affect the way we perform our exercises. So sometimes just looking to manipulate the length of time that we're resting for can be a real breakthrough strategy. For others, it's not necessarily changing the amount of sets, reps, resistance or rest that we use, but it's breaking them into mini sort of sets and mini efforts. So your one set of 12 might be 2 sets of 6 or 3 sets of 4, or an uneven set like a 7 and a 5 with a short rest in the middle. And it just puts us over that tipping point to then weeks, months later, whenever we go back to it, the longer sets can work, or we can push more resistance, or we can just break through whatever plateau is individual to us. Sometimes we might want to use something where our traditional exercise is more of a movement snack approach. So your 3 sets of 10 of something, rather than being in kit in the gym or as part of a rehab plan at home, becomes a more sort of segmented approach throughout the day. So your calf raises, rather than them being a set of calf raises, maybe on the hour, every hour you do a handful of them, or every time you walk past the stairs you do a couple on the stairs, or whatever it is. And you accumulate much bigger volume over a easier, more graduated period of time without the fatigue. And then when we bring it back together, you've broken through that plateau. Sometimes I like to use things like controlled chaos. So this doesn't mean that it's anything goes anytime. There's rhyme to our reason. And there's a structure and reasoning behind what we're trying to do. So for example, I might get someone to use their normal gym plan, but we could, if we take the chaos out, rather than you always doing the same 6 exercises in the same order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe do them in reverse. Maybe you do odd numbers first, even numbers second. Maybe we segment that into 2 separate plans, one in the morning, one in the night. But if you wanted the controlled chaos element, what you might want to do is get something like a dice. 6 exercises, you roll the dice, you number each exercise, whichever exercise comes up, that's the one you do. And there's the possibility sometimes you're doing multiple sets consecutively of the same exercise. That's fine. You're not going to perform at the level you would if you were fresh, but it's something that's different and novel, and you could have 2 dice, one for the amount of sets or reps or time that you do the exercise, and the other to choose the exercise. So you play around with these things. I said dice, you've obviously got apps that will do random generator things these days as well. So you could put more than 6 in and play around with them. Potentially, you may just want to change the order. So if you're finding there's a particular exercise that you're struggling to break through a plateau with, maybe that becomes the first exercise that you do every session, rather than it being midpoint or latter point of every session. That is a strategy I tend to get my athletes and patients to muck around with anyway. Don't always do them in the same order unless we really have a priority exercise that we want to. And then finally, there's the things sometimes which are the non-tangible psychological tricks that work really well. So for example, some people will say, I often struggle with the last couple of reps of a 12 rep set. So I sort of, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I'm really struggling to feel like I can finish them off, or my mind drifts or whatever. So what I might say to them is, right, count down instead of up. So rather than how many you've got left, how many you've done, it's how many you got left. And you might find that, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you finish the set is actually a motivator or a stimulus, or just change. that gets you to that in an easier, different way that breaks through those plateaus. So most people give up. Most people assume that's it. There's not much they can do. There's tons of stuff. I've touched in 5 minutes on a handful of them. If you are experiencing any plateaus and you want to message me privately to chat through specific strategies that might help you, please do. If you're someone who's broken through plateaus or worked with athletes and patients to break through plateaus, please do comment in the comment sections and share some of the ideas and tips that you might have had or found successful.